I spoke about the Bangladeshi aunties. Many of them are in this room. I would be remiss if I also didn't say the Bangladeshi uncles who stood with us, as well as the Bangladeshi youngsters. We began this campaign at 1% in the polls.
Welcome Zohran Mamdani, our future mayor of New York City, and a brother of New York City's all community, a brother of Bangladeshi community, and a brother of mine and Time Television. Thank you so much. Thank you, Zohran. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone. My name is Zohran Mamdani, and it is such a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you this evening. Can we have a round of applause for Abu Tahir? Please, please. I want to take one moment to celebrate our brother, because this event has become a fixture in so many of our lives. No matter what's happening in our life, we come to the Time TV Gala. And we come because you and those on your team have built an institution in this city. And you have reshaped this city so that it looks more like the people that call it home. Thank you so much, Abu Tahir. Thank you. Thank you. You know, this is the 11th year, Time Television. This is now 29 years of Bangla Patrika. And it speaks to a legacy of creating that which did not exist prior to this. And as we lift up these institutions, we also lift up something much larger than them. We lift up the idea of a New York City where each and every person who calls it home can see themselves in that same home. They can see themselves in those newspapers. They can see themselves in those TV stations. They can see themselves even in City Hall. And it is my great pleasure to be here tonight as the Democratic nominee for the next mayor of New York City. And it is a pleasure to be here alongside the first Bangladeshi elected to City Council, Shahana Hanif, a trailblazer. And I bring up Shahana because we have to understand that all of these struggles, they are interconnected. The same things that we spoke about in our mayoral campaign were the things that Shahana was fighting for in the City Council campaign. The same pressures, the same pushes that we faced were the same things that she faced. And it's part of one fight, which is a fight for the dignity of working class people across this city. And you know, too often, as I was sharing with Abu Tahir on Time TV, as was shown in this clip, there are many who seek to define New York and New Yorkers by cutting out a number of those who are in this room. And we know that as Muslims, to exist in public life, we are often faced with the question of belonging. We are often met with remarks of going back to where we came from, or telling us that we could never belong here. All of this in a city where more than 1 million of its residents are Muslim. And I know that what Muslim New Yorkers want and deserve is the same thing as every other community: equality and respect. Nothing more. And yet for so long that has been deemed out of the realm of possibility. So as we ran this campaign, I was asked time and again, what would it mean to be the first Muslim mayor in New York City history? What would it mean to be the first South Asian mayor in New York City history? And I didn't think of the remarks that I have faced. I didn't think of the death threats that I have received. I didn't think of the man from Texas who just last Thursday was arraigned after having made threats to kill me and my wife and the people that we love. I didn't think of that because to think of that would be to allow ourselves to be intimidated out of the work that we know we have to do. It would be to allow ourselves to be pushed from the purpose that has united so many of us. I thought instead of my grandmother Kulsum, of my grandfather Yusuf, who taught me that to be a good Muslim is to be a good person. It is to help those in need and harm no one. And I thought about the young girl in a hijab who ran behind my wife Rama and I as we walked through Astoria Park and asked me for a photo and called her sister and her sister and her sister and their mother to come together, and looking in her eyes, seeing the infinite sense of possibility. That as she saw our campaign, she saw herself and she saw that she could be anything she wanted in this city. And that includes being the mayor. And so, as I am here to celebrate Time TV, to celebrate Bangla Patrika, I also want to celebrate something that Shahana spoke about, which is the freedom of expression. We are living in a moment where there is a federal administration seeking not only to cancel late-night TV show hosts that makes jokes at their expense, but also to deport New Yorkers who speak up for Palestinian human rights. Because just this past week we saw Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian New Yorker who was convicted of no crime other than the expression of solidarity with Palestinians, being told by an immigration judge that he should be deported either to Algeria or Syria. Never mind the fact that he is married with a young child that they are raising together here in New York City. Never mind the fact that he is a New Yorker. And so I say here today, as someone who will be the next mayor of New York City, that when we stand up for freedom of expression, we stand up for it, whether it's for Jimmy Kimmel or Mahmoud Khalil. We stand up for all of it because we know that our values are only worth as much as our application of them to everyone. And I know that in that freedom of expression, we are also championing these very community institutions. Because too often, Time Television, Bangla Patrika, the ethnic media outlets across our city are not given the respect that they deserve, not given the same consideration. And I want to say thank you to Abu Tahir and thank you to everyone who made this possible. Because as we have said then, we will say now, that you ensure that every single New Yorker can learn about the world that they live in every language that they know. And if that language is Bangla, then you will find your television station, you will find your newspaper. And that is the city hall that I endeavor to build. A city hall where people can not just see themselves in it, but a city hall where they can understand that that government cares about them, cares about their welfare, and will fight for them. No matter where they were born, no matter what religion they have, no matter their name, it is their city, and it is our job to deliver it for them. So thank you all so much. Assalamu alaikum. It is such a pleasure, such a privilege. And I want to also, just before I leave, say thank you to everyone in this room who made our victory possible. I spoke about the Bangladeshi aunties. Many of them are in this room. I would be remiss if I also didn't say the Bangladeshi uncles who stood with us, as well as the Bangladeshi youngsters. We began this campaign at 1% in the polls. And we defeated a former governor by 13 points by the end of it. And you will hear smears, you will hear slander, you will hear lies over these next many weeks. But the one thing that they can never take away is that you changed the history of this city, you changed the history of this country, and there are people across the world looking at this moment in time. And so I come here to thank you for all that you did, thank you for the doors that you knocked, thank you for the belief that you gave, and to ask you once again to commit to our campaign. Because we have one more election to win. And if we want to elect this movement into City Hall, it will take everything that we have over these next many weeks so that at the end of November 4th, we can look at each other and say, we didn't just win a primary, we won the general, and that I will be your next mayor of New York City. Thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing you out there as we win this race.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mamdani. It's our pleasure to have you here in this phenomenal evening. Let's have a big round of applause for our
Future Mayor
Mamdani.
Zohran Mamdani.
Zohran Mamdani.
Awesome, thank you guys, perfect, right there.
We have another leader here who will run the election for Zohran Mamdani, and she's here, Mary Zobaida. We will call her here, Mary Zobaida, একজন কর্মজীবী মা, বাংলাদেশ থেকে আসা প্রথম প্রজন্মের আমেরিকান। আমরা তার কথাও শুনবো, তাকে নিয়ে আসবো আমাদের মঞ্চে।
Yes,